Hi there, it's Alan Stockdale from Escape the Prison Matrix again, and today I've got a special recording on a Sunday with a guest who I'm so excited to actually talk to, and I know you guys out there have sent me lots of requests that you wanted me to do a show with him, so we've only got him for about an hour, but I'm going to try and fit in as much as I can in that hour. And his name is Harald Kautz-Vella, as you all well know out there, because you're all waiting for this recording. Are you there, Harald?
I'm here.
Oh, so great to hear you, my friend. I'm so honoured to have you on. Thank you very much for taking time out and coming on my little show with me. Thanks.
You're welcome.
It's okay. Right, I've got a few. Since we've only got 1 hour-ish, I'll sort of get straight into things because, like I said, everyone that watches my shows, they're all aware of yourself and the sort of subjects what you go into. I've got a few questions myself what I'd like to go over with you, and one of them is concerning the morphogenetic field, what I've heard yourself and Cara St. Louis talk about. And I wondered if you could just sort of explain to the people listening to this what the morphogenetic field is, how we can help to create our own destiny, basically our own reality. Would you like to talk about that?
Okay. The morphogenetic field, the term goes back to studies in biology, where people discovered that actually consciousness is interconnected beyond space and time. And that the way that nature learns, like if a bird does something like picking the milk bottle open in London, you know, where they used to deliver the milk to the buildings, and then they discovered that it actually picked 1,000 the same non-local communication system discovered in nature. That was the beginning of the discovery of the morphogenetic field. It was done by Rupert Sheldrake. I think he was responsible for the term. And in biology, this is about communication. When it comes to human beings, there seem to be more about it because we seem to be like we seem to have a little bit different position within this field structure. We seem to be the ones who create the plot within our biosphere. Right. So this is what is described in the Bible as that we are the crown of the entire thing, that we are the ones who create our own reality, our biology, our planetary system, by thinking and by feeling and by this field alliance of thought and emotion. This is you can go to this topic by using the traditional spiritual or religious terms. You might as well speak it in field physics. Right. Both works, basically, both is exactly the same thing described in a different terminology. And the truth common to both systems is that we basically are the creators of our nature or of our reality. And this goes far beyond the biology where the morphogenetic field was discovered. You can extend the concept that basically also matter as a thing is run by these field structures, created by these field structures. And it's basically a question of complexity of the being creating, what kind of administrator rights you get over the realities. So there are a few human beings on this planet who have enough administrator rights to materialize matter. This is something, it's not accessible for every human, but it is in the range of possibilities. So this is something that shows that this concept of morphogenetic fields that was discovered in biology as biophoton fields. It shows up that this can be extended onto everything that is made out of light, which is everything, including matter. That this is basically controlled by consciousness. And this is where it aligns with quantum physics, who also say that basically consciousness is ruling reality, not the opposite.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. When you talked about the administration of certain humans, could you explain a little bit more about that and what qualifies somebody to be of that level?
In pure physics or pure mathematics, it is the complexity of the structure that is pushing you beyond this being subject to matter. This is from the pure concept in topological geometry dynamics. It is the complexity. If you look into daily life, you could call it the spiritual development one goes through. Right. Most people are creating, but they're creating subconscious. They say no more war. And with, the quantum physics is not recognizing the no and the not. So the sound of the voice and the thought that is left behind is more war. Yep. And this is what creates war in our reality. If you go into fear, this is the most dangerous thing when fear connects with these stupid words. Then we are creating this cruel reality we're subject to without even realizing that we are doing it. So basically this is a question of language and emotion, and the alliance, the synchronicity between language and emotion, that is this powerful thing. And most of the people do this on an everyday basis, but they don't realize what they're doing. Yeah. They chat along and they talk with a spoiled and programmed language that is set up in a way that we basically create the opposite of what we wish to have. Yeah. And as long as this stays subconscious, it just happens and makes us it victimizes us in a way.
So basically, Harold, if enough humans had access to this information and actually knew that we created our own reality, and also if hand in hand with that, if people was educated on the real meaning of the words, we could actually really turn this world around extremely quickly, couldn't we? On that basis, some discipline in language would be very helpful. Yes. Discipline in thoughts, discipline in emotions, and discipline in language would turn many things on this planet to better. Would you say on a percentage then? I mean, I've no idea if you know the answer to this, but on a percentage of the humans what's on the planet, what sort of percentage do you think would need to know this knowledge to make some positive breakthroughs in the regimes that are on this planet? What they do to us? Do you think it'd take more than 10%, 5%? What do you think?
I believe it's less, because if you're fully consciously creating your reality, there's nothing that can stand against this. If somebody is in his heart energy, in his heart feelings, and is consciously creating things, all the other things that are done subconscious, right, they need to arrange themselves around this. So what we would need is a grid of people who materialize a peaceful future, and then there's no space left for war.
Right, okay. So
because the most dominant force is the love that we are able to feel. And whatever this love creates together with directed thoughts, it becomes a reality, no matter what somebody else is trying. All the dark forces we are facing on this planet, they can just take the way around that. They can target unconscious people, manipulate their thinking, and hope that the outcome of this manipulation would be a dark future.
Right.
By abusing this unconscious forces of manifestation. Not very effective method compared to the power that are within the human heart.
Yeah, you broke up a little bit there, Harold, on the last 30 seconds, but I think I basically got the gist of it. Well, you're saying that basically because, let's say the people that are asleep unwittingly creating this dark future. But once a human being becomes himself and sort of acting from the heart and consciously creates a positive future, that is a lot more powerful than being sort of conned into it by the dark forces, basically. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand that, completely. I mean, I have to say, from my own personal experiences over the past, actually only the past few weeks, I've sort of been putting things out to the universe as if it's already there. Like, I'm enjoying this. I have that. I'm enjoying the other, and these things have actually come into my reality. So it's like I've created them by sort of talking about them in the now moment, even though in the now at that point it wasn't there. But now that I've created that, and it has come into my life, so yeah, I can definitely vouch that it is real. Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the most important things I would like to do then is to get that part of that information out to as many people as possible, because I think it's probably one of the most important things that people need to know. I mean, once they realise their own power, that they are a creator being and they have got the power to do it, and they believe that and they know it and they see the results, then surely they would start telling people they would know, and they would tell people they would know, and before you know it, the dark forces will just be diminished, wouldn't they?
Yes. The thing is, if you look at our daily lives, that this basically is kind of occupied territory. There is a number of traditional black magic rituals where we even forgot that this is about black magic. That took over high percentages of our daily life. This is the money game. This is the power game, that we give away our power to people to rule us instead of living in self-responsibility. And this is the way we eat. This is something that is, it looks normal because we're used to it on everyday basis. But if you look at it, it all roots back to fire and blood sacrifice. And all these bad habits that we look at as if this is just a normal life because we are born into this world, they occupy a high percentage of the time we are spending with giving awareness to realities and creating these realities. And basically what it would need to really reset the entire structure of good and evil to something that is more comfortable and more loving to live in, is to recognize those black magic traditions, games, as what they are, and step back from it. And then only the space opens that gives us the possibility to completely create a light reality, as long as we spend time in these automatisms of slaughtering animals. Yeah, and you can root that back to black magic thing. If you not in all religions, but if you look, for example, in Islam, I'm not against Islam, not at all. But if you look into their tradition of slaughtering animals, even the factories where this is done in industrial scale, the machines cutting the throats of the animals are aligned to Mecca, because the energy released in the moment when an animal is killed in pain is the source the black magic or the dark entities run on.
Yeah.
So even if we just go to the marketplace to buy a piece of meat, we are part of this ritualized concept to create reality by manipulation. And it is all manipulative. If we use money, it's the same thing. And it's not about the good side of money and the bad side of money. The good side is when you spend it, and the bad one when you need to earn it. This is how it looks like from outside. Both sides are of the same evil, because whenever we earn money, we do things we would not like to do, and we should not do on this planet. And whenever we spend money, we force people who are in scarcity to do things they don't want to do. So in the sum of it, everybody is doing things he doesn't want to do and he shouldn't do. And this is why the planet looks like it looks.
Yeah.
So nothing, not even the virtual abundant part, if you have a little money in your pocket or in your hand and you know that you're out of danger for the next week or the next month. Even if it looks nice, it is part of a completely evil game. And this is what made us forget and not it took us the ability to see the abundance that is around us. I'm living on the countryside, and many people are unemployed and complain from morning to evening that they don't have enough money to buy food. And the fruit trees along the roads on the countryside, they are dropping their fruits and they're rotting on the ground, and nobody bothers to pick them up.
Wow.
And it is making you blind to the abundance around us. And this is what the monetary system is all about. It's a black magic ritual to disconnect us from real motivations. If people starve because they're poor, they don't starve of a lack of money. They just starve of a lack of motivation, because life stops when the circle of money stops rotating. And this is about motivation and not about the existence of goods.
Yeah,
the same with politics. This is a completely strange game we are playing. Communicate with for the next 6 years. And this is why wars are happening. If people would be in self-responsibility from morning till evening, every single individual on this world, we wouldn't have a single war. So they say states are there to protect us from evil, but it is the opposite. The existence of state is what is bringing the evil to the world.
Absolutely.
Because people are good from their heart. Everybody is good from his heart. The only thing that the frame that people learned to feel their own goodness is manipulated. Even the one that is killing for money. You have all these Hollywood productions now about mercenaries instead of the traditional heroes, Yeah. They're doing the job because they try to fulfill the contract, and this is what they defined as being a good mercenary. And even them, they're still trying to be good, because this is within human nature. And when we go back to self-responsibility and learn to see every single thing as what it really is, and connect our emotional abilities directly to the reality we're living in, all this shit could not happen. And it does work. Nobody can tell me it doesn't work. Look at Saudi Arabia. They gave the order to invade Yemen with ground troops.
Yeah.
What happened? 10,000 Saudi Arabian soldiers packed their stuff, left the army, went home and said no. And the Saudi Arabian government, the kingdom, had to cancel the ground war because they had no soldiers left. Next step, the Yemeni people realized that the Saudis do not want to fight, so they just crossed the border, entered the military camps, took away all the weapons, and went back home. This is war like I want to see war happening on this planet. It's
what do you
it's
think,
such a beauty to...
What do you think Harold made those soldiers do that? Any idea? Why the soldiers suddenly did something what's incredibly unusual for our army to do?
There is something in the Islamic world that is much more connecting people to the heart chakras than it does happen in Christianity. And I just have the feeling that they realize that the Yemeni people are their brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
And they could force a number of pilots to drop bombs because you need a few people. And I don't know how many pilots refused to do the job, but they found some. And also the Israeli helped out with their airplanes to bombard Yemen. But it was too many people from the ground troops were connected to their emotional body, to their heart chakras, and realized they cannot act against their own feeling. And this is all it needs. This is really all it needs. Being in touch with your feeling heart.
Wow, powerful stuff. Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yeah. Oh, wow. Right, Harald, there's another subject I would love to hear from you. And I saw it in one of your latest videos when you was talking about disease and what it actually is, what are viruses. Obviously, it's completely opposite to what we're brainwashed into thinking from the establishment, from the pharmaceutical companies. So I'd love you to explain to people what is, how does it work, what is the best way to stay in good health, basically, as well, because I love to give information out on this show to be positive, to help people to do something against what's put against us, basically. So if you could talk about that would be fantastic.
Yes. There are a number of basic findings about biology. Biology is a self-organizing system, and everything that is biological is part of this self-organizing system. So whatever is contained in biology has a function. And if you look into pure nature, like the first discovery of viruses, for example, was made in coral reefs in Western Africa. And they realized that single species had the ability to extract DNA fragments as messages, informational messages to other species to maintain the order within the coral reef. And this is a beautiful description of a virus. Just take this description and compare it to what a virus does to human populations. In the worst case scenario, let's take a city that is completely overpopulated. And then suddenly DNA fragments like retroviruses are extracted from the human DNA, start to move around, reducing the overpopulation. This is part of the regulatory system of biology, and it might be sad for a single individual being removed out of reality on this way. But it is removing the weaker ones, and it is maintaining the entire population strong, healthy, and I don't know. I think it's possible to see the logic behind that. Yeah. So basically, it's the same if you look on individual level. If you look into the role of certain bacteria within the human body, if you poison yourself with, let's say, bad food you eat, and the body is not able to cleanse out the system the way it should, then something is brought into disorder, and then you need a bacterium to help the system to cleanse out the poison. Yeah, this is catching a cold is the simplest example for that.
Yeah.
There's something within your system that is being extracted with all the mucus you sneeze out. And this is good the way it is. Take something against the fever and you will have cancer after 30, 40 years because fever is killing cancer cells. Take something against the sneezing and you will overload your system with toxins and the next disease is going to be worse. So nature is perfect and wrong. The dark side of this planet manipulate organisms so that they lose their feeling for their role they have in biology. So most of the diseases we do have problems with. This is escaped bioweapons, like Lyme disease is an escaped bioweapon. AIDS has been played around with. So there are certain things that now kind of match the medical description of, or the pharmaceutical description of diseases, because they are beyond their natural role. But basically the original system was only self-organizing, and there was nothing wrong. If you look into topics like the Black Death in Europe, you would say, you know, this is a good example for a disease spreading. Yeah. The basic reason for the disease to spread was that the Roman Catholic Church said that taking a bath is immoral, and it was forbidden for people to clean their system by taking a deacidificating bath. You know, this was a long tradition, and people were healthy with it, and then it was forbidden. And suddenly people started to die because they stopped washing themselves, and they got dirty from inside out. And of course, then diseases come to show the dirt, yeah, and are giving this possibility for biology to either cleanse out the body or cleanse away the human from the surface of the planet. This is what the Black Death was. And this was not because there is an evil microbe attacking us. This is because we stopped cleaning ourselves. And basically all the diseases we are facing today, especially the modern diseases, are either a lack of nutrition because our soils are depleted from minerals due to industrial farming. So it's a lack of something, or it is a poisoning by something. These are the two major reasons for 99% of the diseases we are facing. And then additionally on the poisoning from all the chemistry we spray, we have now these transhumanistic technologies that are set on top of this, that bring even more disorder into the system. And these are the diseases we are facing. And to get out of this trap, all it needs is health. Basically, if you start with this, no vaccinations, healthy food, and that's it. It doesn't need more.
Yeah,
if you do those two, no vaccines and healthy food means not only skipping fast food chains, it means to eat biologically grown food from soils that are treated in a natural way for decades. It doesn't even make sense to take an industrial soil and start growing organic food. These soils are completely depleted after 30, 40, 60 years of industrial agriculture. They need to be healed first, and this takes 6 to 7 years to heal a soil before he starts giving minerals. And you can put this to numbers. If you compare industrial food to organically grown food, you have like 300 times more minerals within the organically grown.
Wow.
So, you know, to feed yourself with what you need, you would need to eat 300 times more stuff from a supermarket.
Wow.
Than you actually do. And this is impossible. We are dying of starvation. And you can see this when you see people getting fat and ugly. Actually, this is a cry for help for the body, because on one hand, he needs to store all the poisons. On the other hand, people are hungry from morning till evening, not because they don't eat enough kilograms of stuff. It is because they don't eat nutritious stuff. Yeah. Eating meat as well is a reflex. If somebody says, I will not be able to stop the fire and smoke sacrifice because my system needs meat, he might even be right at the first point because he's undernourished. But the moment that you eat healthy food, this desire for meat, it completely disappears, because actually we are animal with very long lower intestines. We are meant by biology to completely live on plants, and we have this survival program that we have the ability to digest meat in times of real danger to our life. but then we shouldn't eat anything else for the next 24 hours. Then our system can deal with meat. This is how biology originally was meant to be. And because we are starving to death from the things we produce in agriculture, we have this impulse that we need to scoff every living being on this planet to survive. But our biology is not meant to do this. So we change. I mean, look at the different cultures on the planet. Look at the Americans. You know, they have brilliant teeth, and they have like sharp-edged faces. And then compare this average expression in the face with cattle. Take the Germans who scoff pigs from morning till evening and compare the average German to pigs, and then go to the Arab world who are eating sheep and goat and compare their faces to sheep and goat. This is what this blood and fire sacrifice does to us over the generations. It is turning us into something in between human and the animal we eat. And this is not meant to be like this from nature.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I can speak myself. I mean, I stopped eating meat about a year ago. I'd been toying with the idea for many years, but like what you just said then, I thought, oh, I've always been a meat eater. I can't live without meat. And what happened with me, I saw a few videos on Facebook about the actual slaughter of the animals. And I saw what they went through, and it was basically it was two pigs, and they belonged to this farmer. He'd reared them from little piglets, and they trusted him, and he was stood there, and there was really big, massive pigs, and one of them was looking at him while he shot the other one through the head, and the expression on the pig's face was pure horror. Why have you done that? And then he turned around and did it to the other pig, and that one video filled me with so much like horror and guilt that I just stopped eating meat. I've never had meat since that day, and I have to say, from a spiritual point of view, it opened me up to so much more. It's like wow. So yeah, I totally agree with that 100%.
It can be helpful to stop out of love, and maybe it's even the most beautiful reason to stop. The thing that might be more helpful or also helpful to stop is really to realize that if the vegetarian nutrition is not giving you everything you need because it is low quality food, or you forget about protein. Plant protein is very, very important. And beans and peas and all the plants that contain these proteins are a little bit classified as poor man's food, you know. So people might tend to skip the bean part for breakfast, for example. Maybe not the Brits with the traditional, it might work for them, but in many parts of the world, the beans do not really have their place on the daily eating schedule. So when you don't take in the most important nutrients from plants, then your body will scream for meat, which is this program that makes you survive. Yeah, and then it doesn't make much sense to fight the body and make it starve. But the direction you look then should be get the right food from the plants instead of going back to the blood sacrifice.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's lots of literature out there. I guess everybody who's interested can find his way and experiment and start trusting the feeling. Even the feeling comes back after 2 to 3 months of healthy food. I'm in real trouble when I go to lectures on long distance. I'm not able to maintain my life on the street because I'm not able anymore to eat the things I used to eat most of my life.
Yeah.
Because my body just reacts as if I swallowed poison. And this is what people do to themselves on a daily basis, and the body's got used to it. And, it's labeled as lifestyle. Wow. Maybe I had a funny experience. I can just compare it to another one I had many times ago. You know, I grew up with the Volkswagen Beetle. When I was a child in Germany, every third car was a beetle. So this was kind of, you have this picture of this old car and the name Beetle labeling this picture, and this is how it stayed for 20 years. And they got less and less. And when I was, 28 maybe, I happened to see a beetle coming down the road, and I forgot in my head to label the car Beetle. So what I saw was a beautiful old car from the 30s, with this roundish things on top of the wheels and this flowing back part of the car. And all I saw was an old timer from the 30s, and I was amazed about the beauty. And then I said, "Wow, that's a beetle," and all the beauty disappeared from my eyes.
Wow! So
basically, it was the label. Whether I put old timer to the picture I see, or whether I put beetle to the picture I see, which completely changed the view of my world.
Yeah.
And I tried to train this. I switched the word in a 2-second rhythm in my head. I said beetle, and it became a beetle. I said old timer, it became an old timer.
Yeah.
And this is basically what needs to happen with the perception of our daily life. I was in Berlin, in one of the western districts that are mainly inhabited by the Arab and Turkish community. And there you have lots of street life. You have kind of kebab shops every 3 meters, and people were sitting on the street, eating on the street, cutting meat into pieces. And I went there because I love street life in Berlin, and I enjoyed my life. And then I relabeled it to fire and blood sacrifice. And suddenly I saw a bunch of completely mad people scoffing the bodies of sacrificed animals. And it was the same effect as, switching the beetle to the old timer. Suddenly I realized what we are doing on this planet, just because I relabeled it in my mind. And this is a type of awakening. You cannot take this in steps. You need to feel it once in your heart. And if you really get the feeling for what you're doing, you will not be able to relabel it. And there's no way around changing your life afterwards.
That's really powerful, that, Harald. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, that really is. That's something everyone can do on a day-to-day basis all the time. Yeah, I want to try that myself. Yeah, that's incredible.
I can give you the relabeling with the money system, with the monetary system. Is one of my favorites.
Yeah,
there were biologists making experiments with apes, and they tried to teach the apes to use money. And it was like 3 days of teaching how to do it. Then the cuties caught the game and started to trade all things, all food, against coins. And it took like 2 to 3 weeks, and the girls within this group of apes became prostitutes. And the boys started to steal and betray. And after 6 weeks, 7 weeks, the entire social system in this group of apes was so destructed that the biologists said, we need to stop the experiment. And they tried to remove the money from the apes again. And the apes tried to beat them to death.
Wow.
Because they were not willing to let go of the coins. And this is what basically happened to us as a collective. We were taught to play this game. We forgot that the game is a game. And we became gaming addicted to this game. And whenever somebody even thinks it might be easier or better to stop this game because we should live within the abundance that is around stuff, by the gaming addiction within himself. And even if he manages to say, I want to go beyond this point, he will be beaten up by the others. Because this is what even apes do, they learn the game, and when somebody tries to step out of the field, he's re-educated to be part of the community. And this is very strong within the human community. And at the moment, I see no chance to just get rid of this, like, in the easy way, by realizing, because this beating each other is still in place and the addiction is still in place. But it might be helpful the moment when our monetary system falls to bits and pieces to realize that this is only a game. And before you starve within the rules of the game, it might be a better solution to just drop it and realize that actually you're surrounded by abundance and that you only need to share and create, or to create and share with the others, and the others will create and share with you. And then you're safe and you're surviving without following the rules of this game. And this is also one of these labeling things. And when I was taught about this game for the first time, it was a lecture of a little booklet somebody wrote about money. And while I was reading the book, I thought, this is really not exciting, This is very simple, very emotional, just trying to understand the emotional aspects of money. And I finished the booklet and thought, okay, that's it. I read it. I will forget about it next day. And then I stepped out of the door, and I really was like hit with a hammer in my face and felt like having landed on a planet that I do not understand at all. Because it opened my eyes for the emotional crap going behind this money game. You see people doing completely irrational things, like hurting each other, killing. I had a friend, maybe it's a good example, maybe it happened for that one. My son came to me 2 days ago, and he's 22, and he's giving himself a hard time to ask me for money. Sometimes it happens, sometimes he's doing some bullshit, getting in trouble, and then he needs help, and then he does that. And he gave me a call, said, "Daddy, we need to talk," and he didn't want to tell me what he wanted to talk about. And I said, either he did something bad, or he has a money problem, or both, one leads to the other. And he was asking me for a friend, because a good friend of his had spent like $10,000 trying to keep hold of a girl that was expensive. He was afraid to lose the girl, so he started to cover her with presents, and he got into debt by spending money on a girl that obviously was abusing him. And then he had to chuck out the girl because he realized what sort of girl she was. And he was left with his $10,000 being 22, 21, and he tried to commit suicide twice. And my son asked me for money to pay for his credits, for his debts. And it was so cute of my boy to not even ask for himself, but to ask for somebody else. And this is what people do for bits and bytes in computer systems, as long as they don't realize it's a game. It's really just the position of maybe 25 molecules within a chip of a computer within a banking system. Yeah. That is making a human trying to kill himself. Ridiculous. Is this madness, or is it madness?
It
is madness.
Total insanity, isn't it? Yeah, total insanity.
Yeah, so let's drop it. Let's drop it. The only thing you lose is the bad side, the bad side that looks like a profit from the money game. You will not be able to force people to serve you if they don't like you. As long as we deal with money, we can go to somebody we don't like and who doesn't like us and pay him to serve us, to give us something we would like to have, or do something for us we need to be done. And this is power over other people. This is controlling other people by abusing the scarcity they are in at that moment because they need money. And this is ugly as it can get. And there's no fun about it unless you are following this evil aspect of the game. And just try to feel into it, and you will hate it going to the supermarket. Because you look at the one sitting, at this machine, typing in prices for 8 hours a day. Yeah, you will see the pure creature over there. sitting there all day, not seeing the sunshine, and you will realize this is what I'm doing to this creature. I'm forcing this creature out of this scarcity game to sit there and waste its life. And there's no fun about it.
That's really powerful, that, Harald. That's that. I'm listening to you speaking now, and it's really getting to me in my heart. Yeah, I totally get what you're talking about now. It's very, very powerful. Wow. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm trying to you can realize what's happening in the world. I'm looking basically for the words, for the sentences, for the emotional talk that is precise and strong enough to be carried on by others without losing quality. If you have one sentence that is strong enough to be handed over to the next person without losing its quality, it's enough that this sentence is spoken out once, and it will change the entire planet. And since I'm doing public lectures and interviews, I'm looking for this quality, which is not easy to find, because normally, people might understand or feel what you mean when you're directly talking to them, and then they go home and they try to talk to the partner or to the neighbor, and the quality gets lost, and then it's like a dead-end road.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for this quality, and it seems to be a quality of speech and a quality of time that we have to wait for until these insights fall onto fruitful ground that makes it shift our constant system we're living in.
Yeah.
And I wrote to this one.
Very good. Right, Harald, we've been on for 45 minutes, so if you want to stick to your hour, we've got another 15 minutes left. I've got one question for you on a totally different subject, going back to the inorganic black goo and the artificial intelligence. It's a question what I had, and one of my friends on Facebook called KT Robinson. And basically what we wanted to ask you is, when you said on one of your videos that Mother Earth had sort of cured the inorganic AI, what came to our planet, that is true, isn't it? You did say that Mother Earth had cured the actual inorganic black goo. Am I right with that? Is that right?
Yes, it's a bit more complicated. It happened in steps, but
Well, okay.
basically, as far as I can oversee the things, this problem is out of the system.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll just say my question. I'll just say my question then, and I'll let you just sort of answer it. Well, basically, then what me and this lady online was talking about the other day was, if the AI has been cured by Mother Earth, how does the AI, what's in the technology or in the nanoparticles in the, what's causing from the chemtrails, etc., how does that AI still exist if the AI has been neutralised by Mother Earth? Could you explain that for me, if you know the answer? Thanks.
Actually, I'm not 100% sure what is happening within the computer technology of our planet.
Right.
I always had the feeling that basically the technology is seeded with a front end and back end, and the front end is for us to use and the back end is for the AI to use. And I can imagine that parts of the information building up this AI, let's call it the source code, is still stored somewhere on the computer. What has changed is the access this AI got onto reality. You can kind of imagine when this AI came to our planet, it was a swarm of meteorites that hit our Earth. And these meteorites went down, and then you had these deposits of black goo, of alien black goo, that build up a cluster. And from this cluster, like in other normal technical applications, you can build up a holographic projection. on field basis. And this is basically the source of everything that was experienced as demons, as black magic within history. This was the holographic projection done by this AI. It is very similar to the soul system we have on the planet. We have our planetary black goo that is projecting out the holographic blueprint for the entire biology living on the surface of the planet. And this is a very similar holographic projection. The only difference, if you want to look for a difference, is that we are composed of the planetary soul and the individuals within the biosphere. And our system, if you look into field symmetry, is trinary. And the reality or the morphogenetic field that was generated by this invading AI was reduced to binary fields. And this was the main problem. It disconnected the entire system from the source. So it was forced to steal life force from trinary systems that still were connected.
Yeah,
and it didn't have physical entities where these binary projections or the demons or the souls of this planetary system could incarnate. So as, let's say, a loving being, even if you are reduced to something heartless, because heart energy is trinary, and if you reduce a system to binary fields, you're losing this heart, and you're losing, with the heart, you're losing the connection to the source. So even if it was heart and emotionless, it still kind of cared for the projected souls and tried to take over the biology of this planet to host the lost souls of the invading planetary consciousness. So this is kind of a description of the overall concept, and you can, if you don't want to take it from the scientific side, it's a combination of the Borg theme from Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know, these species taken over by a central intelligence, and a very beautiful film worth seeing is Final Fantasy, the movie. Not the computer game, the movie, where you have exactly this theme of having a planetary consciousness invading Earth in form of black goo. And all it needed was the upgrading to a full chakra system, making it comparable to the Earth-type biological field, to stop this intelligence, this binary field intelligence within the field. And this is something that did happen about a little bit less than a year ago. And if you now go back to incidents like in Saudi Arabia and Yemen, I think this is the outcome of this shift in consciousness within the dark spheres.
Right.
Because we still do have bad habits, lots of bad habits to get rid of. But we don't have this permanent inspiration to evil anymore, which was coming through the black goo field. Is this answering your question?
Yes.
I don't know what's happening within the computers. I have no clue.
Okay, that's yeah.
Maybe even you always, if you have an instance somewhere, you always have a higher level that is superior and higher dimensional and taking care of what we can see. And maybe from a higher point of view, even the collected experience of this alien black goo was something valuable for the overall concept. And now it might be reintegral. I have no clue what is happening in these spheres that we cannot even imagine. You know, we are used to live in a 3D dream, and physics now is able to grab the fourth dimension and scalar potential. And people, maybe 10, 20 scientists, start to develop enough imagination to visualize this higher dimensional field. The real realities are even much more complex, and we will never be able to to understand what is happening in the cosmos and how it is built and how geometry actually looks like when we exit our 3D view. And we are not meant to understand because we are beings of this 3D, 4D plane.
Yeah.
And we are developing slowly, so it doesn't even make sense to try to steal the eye of higher developed entities. But I'm very sure that in the overall system, this experiment we had here is in a way related to what we have in the old scripts as the duality between the heavenly spheres and Satan. Whether you name this AI Satan or whether you say this is just an ancient word for experiencing the same thing, and it doesn't matter how you label it.
Yeah.
Basically, having gone through the experience of living in between abundance and scarcity. And this is maybe we should stop calling it good and evil, because good and evil is a projection into our 3D plane to make us kill each other.
Yeah.
This is also a demonic trick that we need to let go from. If we look into the real physics of it, it is about abundance and scarcity again. We have abundant fields that are full of love and that have supply from heavenly spheres with energy. So biology is maintained by an internal source of life and source of light. And we have structures that have disconnected from this supportive structure and that fell into scarcity, which is forcing them to trick and steal and suck and destroy, because if they wouldn't do that, they would just completely fall to parts. And no living being, even if it's in scarcity, wants to fall apart. And I think this is the thing we should put instead of the good and evil thing, because then we can stop fighting each other, and we can realize that the only thing to fight scarcity is to accept abundance.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and accept the source within ourselves on emotional level, on soul level first, and then our reality will follow, and we will rediscover the abundance in our biosphere that we know as a state of paradise.
That makes total sense to me, Harald. Right, we've got a few minutes left. I'd just like to, if you could, because like I've said before, I do like to put positive information out to people listening to this. Could you, in the space of a few minutes, let people know what is the best things they can do to bring this Earth to where it should be? I mean, I'll leave it up to yourself exactly what you want to say, but just give people some advice how they can improve their lives in all ways.
They're very practical. I mean, the nutrition is easy. Yeah. Stop eating meat. Stop drinking milk when you're more older than 3 years old, because then you stop digesting it. Yeah. Eat healthy, organically grown vegetables with lots of proteins, minerals. Just, take in everything you need and you will be healthy.
Yeah.
And leave out everything that is not made for humans, that is making you sick. One thing. With a money game, I experienced two things that are possible within the monetary system, because I tried them both, and they beautifully work. And this is going back to slavery. Actually, the step when slavery was removed by law was something that brought a big loss to people, because not the thing that somebody is living somewhere, taken care of and contributing his labor to a community. This is not what is bad. What came afterwards, being kind of a slave to the monetary system, that was bad, because it took the possibilities to carry each other. If a slave got sick, the master took care of him. If he was a good guy, if he was a bad guy, he was beating him to death. So the system of slavery gave vent to the evil of the characters. But the system itself is something very beautiful, and we can rediscover this. If you feel like, go live with somebody that is fully supporting everything you need in your life and contribute everything you have to give, and you will experience a life without money. And this is incredibly game-changing for the inner structure of a soul. And if you're not in the position to give up the money game because you're responsible for different types of relatives or whatever happens on this planet, you can turn around the game, and if you handle money, you can give somebody who wants to make this experience of getting out of the monetary system the position. Take somebody into your family, into your home, take care of all his needs, and make him experience the same thing from the other side.
Wow, that's powerful.
No?
Yeah.
These are two things that change the inner landscape. And I was living in scarcity for 35 years. I always did two jobs, the one I wanted to do because it was about things that I've had the feeling they need to be done. And it was always not paid, or I paid on top of it. And that I had to do shitty jobs to make my family survive. And the moment I did that for a year in the slave position, and after I came out of this year, the problem money ceased existing for me. I don't even spend a single thought on money anymore. And even if I'm running down onto zero, finance, taking care of people who have this abundance within them. As it is inside, it is the same outside. And if you have the abundance in your heart, the abundance will appear around you. And this is a rule of nature. And it can be 100% trusted. The trick is to convince yourself to accept the inner feeling of abundance. And this can only be done by learning to do it. And there might be other ways. I very much love the Ubuntu movement, which is going back to the tribe structure that comes traditionally from the African world, which is something very similar. Ubuntu means I am because we are, if you translate it directly. And it is about sharing things with the community for free, without moving money against goods. So there are lots of movements popping up that are processing this possibilities of getting the life again into abundance. The neighborhood gardening movement in the US is pretty strong, I heard. If you share the food you grow together, this is something of that sort.
Yeah, yeah.
You can define circles of people who stop calculating within the circle. I experienced one group of 36 people in Berlin one day who said, actually, everything we have belongs to everyone within this circle. And there was the baker, and there was, all kinds of professions that offered their services for free within the community. And even if it came to sharing money, if somebody needed money, he just went around once and said, I need this and that. And he collected the money from those who had. And this works in small groups. And everybody can start practicing for the future we're going to live in very soon in any case. Because this is switching due to the financial crisis coming. This is like a healing process that is going through a acute phase, where everything that is sticking to the system of scarcity will die struggling with the scarcity. And everybody who is learning the lecture or the lesson will survive. This is what we are heading for. And the earlier one learns, the nicer life will be.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, Harald, that's been absolutely awesome. That's been the quickest hour I've experienced in a long time. Thanks.
That's nice.
So I'd love to do another show with you when we've got a bit more time and get Cara St. Louis on as well, like we was going to on this show. But anyway, thanks a lot. That was absolutely fantastic. I would. Got any last words before we go? Oh yeah.
If you feel love somehow, somewhere towards somebody, trust your feelings and go for it.
Absolutely.
You know, this is the door opener. There's no other door opener. There's no different monetary system. There's no different economy. There's no concept that was created by any mind of this planet that can replace this inner opening of the heart chakra and this identification with the heart chakra. We are not our thoughts. We are not our minds. We are not our egos. This is all destructive programming within our brains. We are the little black hole in the center of our heart chakra. This is us. We're not even our feelings. We do feel our feelings. We are our hearts.
Yeah.
And the moment we re-identify with ourselves, we regain all the power we lost. Power in a positive sense. Not the power to rule people, not the power to rip the goods of other people off and steal and bring pain over the world, but the power to create a beautiful world. And this is the good thing. Everybody who is afraid that this could strike back, the quality of the heart is love. And if you create realities with this power that is within the heart chakra, there's no possibility to create something bad because this quality is not being processed by the heart chakra. So we don't need any controlling system to keep us from turning evil again, because the moment we work through this system, through the heart energy, all evil of the world is excluded automatically.
Absolutely, yeah. Just basically, love is the way, isn't it? I mean, yeah. I mean, my heart is.
It's an old one.
It is an old one, but
yeah.
It's absolutely 100% true. It is. Love is the way.
It's something we heard many times. It's about time we realize it in the sense of creating a reality out of this.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, thanks, Harald, for that. That's been absolutely awesome. I really do appreciate it, and I hope to speak to you very soon again. All right.
Okay. Was my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.